Cyberpunk 2077 has a million different guns to use in the game. Okay, maybe not actually a million, but is it so far-fetched to say that throughout your time playing this game, you find a literal million guns just scattered along everywhere, literally everywhere, on the ground, in the lockers, at the shops, and probably some other places I do not desire to know about. It isn't just like it's only pistols either, which for the most part are fine in America. You have fully automatic assault rifles, which are insanely illegal practically everywhere. Submachine guns are regulated and is an entirely different discussion from this video. Shotguns are fine, I guess, and to put the cherry on top, 50 caliber sniper rifles, which are insanely illegal everywhere. How in the hell is this game set in California? But what did Jackie always desire in Night City? Who were the people he always looked up to? I'll give you a hint, they were the legends of Night City. If one wants to become a legend in Night City, they have to grab themselves a 3090 GPU and an i9-10900 CPU, a bottle of Jack Daniels, and 2.5 bottles of painkillers. Hopped up on 2 of those, they are not the PC specs as I am poor, I booted up Cyberpunk 2077 once more. It's actually a lot easier said than done, believe it or not. First off, you can't even use your own fists to damage anybody. Do you see a weapon card that shows fists and is orange, signifying that it's legendary? We honestly should, as V is destined to become a legend and the legend's fists are legendary. And apparently, using only your fists is really effective against all enemies. Oh, wait, hold on, I'm reading this upside down. They are shit. Let me have a go. Right, so, into character creation. I made sure that my V was as original looking as possible, completely new, and never before seen anywhere ever. Running that Night City legend life can be exhausting to an untrained ordinary individual, I call them plebs, so my V was forced to live through the street kid lifestyle, breaking all the laws and fixing a broken nose the very first time we actually see her. I wouldn't be able to fix a broken nose for somebody else like that, let alone my own. Beginning statistics are distributed in everything but intelligence since I won't be quick hacking much this run, only when absolutely necessary. V, being an absolute charming gal, decides to attempt to settle some debt for a bartender named Pepe. Too bad he doesn't have a tattoo of this Pepe. The collector was some jerk named Kirk, and his way of being paid off in full is to grab him the 2077 Guinevere. Guinevere, it's the most expensive hypercar in the game, and there's only 4 in the entire world. Yes, the entire world. The entire world that you play in. Nothing else outside Night City matters or even exists. Nothing. We agree, spend 10 minutes getting to the car, Jackie Wells appears out of nowhere for some reason, and the cops show up and have both of us arrested. That Kirk named jerk I feel set us up, but all's well that ends well. We got let go because the owner of the Guinevere said it was a waste of time from his busy corpo lifestyle, meaning he had other places to go to make more money to buy even more Guineveres. Jackie ends up being a homie because of course he is Jackie Wells after all, even offers V some lunch. The game treats us to 6 months of time skip, which I wish would have happened in 2020, and we are now in our official first mission in the game. Hooray! Except not hooray, as we still don't have access to a legendary weapon. So here's a good question. What do you do when you're forced to face enemies who have guns when you yourself can't use anything? No weapons, no fists, nothing. You just sit back and watch the fireworks. It wasn't until this playthrough until I realized that whatever gun good old Jack Daniels was using was like throwing specks of dirt into the eyes of your most hated foe. Annoying, but still doing some damage, I guess. To plow through like 5 dudes with guns took an astonishing 8 whole minutes. I am not even kidding. This was sped up to like 1000% speed or something like that. Good old Sandra Dorset was having a swimmingly great time in the blazing hot tub, so we stabbed her with a stim pack and carried her out to Trauma Team Platinum Trophy, which is 2077's American Healthcare Ambulance System. How much her deductible will cost is beyond me, but that is unimportant. We get paid while she suffers. Wakako Okada, our intermediary for this quest, is forking the payment and informs the duo that the city will soon be on lockdown. Where have I heard this before? The drive home was a pleasant experience. Jackie hit on an NCPD officer to cross a bridge, a couple of terrorists in masks tried to shoot us. I didn't even have to bother firing back as it was very apparent that a wall was more important, and some elite cops took down a couple of thugs attempting to rob a poor innocent civilian who ultimately had his car torn to shreds. Another day, another nickel, which means brand new parts for V. Our own tailored specialist named Victor Vector assembled some free plastic surgery for our dear V. First came in the form of an ocular system, the Kiroshi Optics Mark I, which is a quantum computer shrunk him down into a fake eyeball, meaning eye contacts will forever be a thing of the past, and you can delete your Google search history. All from your brain. Your fancy new hand can somehow make bullets ricochet off surfaces after the gun is fired. Technology is weird. Here is a clip of Victor pulling out your eyeball, or rather what you see before you black out. This freaks me out to hell and back, and you will all suffer with me. While I'm being tortured, Jackson Wells is sitting nice and pretty in a comfy chair upstairs talking to the one and only Dexter Deshawn, or as he liked to call him, fat-assed Black Jesus of the afterlife. 300 pounds of partly gold-plated cool. 3 things I took away from this conversation. 1, he really is Mark Henry Jr. 2, this job we're doing is absolutely asinine. And 3, I need
money! You dumb fool! Money! Or we are dead!
In the event things go all the way to shit, I need a weapon of some kind. 0 prerogatives granted meant I had to take action into my own hands, my new hand in particular, and that meant completing any and all side quests that didn't require getting into combat. Only problem was there was like 2 of them. You try going outside the lockdown area, and NCPD's Apex Predators blow up your car before you can even say Legend of Night f***ing City. One key component from Fat-Ass Black Jesus' mission was the acquisition of a flathead robot. Since my Eurodollar count is lower than my credit score at the moment, there was not a snowball's chance in blue hell that I was paying for it. Using and abusing some information got me in contact with Meredith Stout, the baddest bitch in the corpo market. Persuasive dexterity saved my life here, and one good proposition led to a nice credit card to fall in my lap. Of course, the card was spiked, so I cleaned it up real nice with my highly advanced and educated computer skills. Meeting up with Maelstrom to acquire the bot was a courteous encounter, and a nice shiny red pistol was pointed at my face for an extended period of time for virtually no reason. We paid for the bot with Militech's money, who are now down 10,000 Eurodollars. See, I'm a good businessman paying for the same thing twice over with somebody else's money. Guess Militech didn't like that though, as they blew something up in the background in such dramatic fashion. Now we are to the second shootout so far, and I gotta say, it is beautiful to have teammates on your side. At this point in time, I could not even physically acquire a legendary weapon of my own. That requires a bit more ingenuity and, more importantly, time. So I let the boys do their own thing, while a pretty princess like me sat in the back like a damsel in distress, uncharacteristically shaking in my boots and avoiding damage as much as possible. The only thing worthwhile I did was be a little pack rat and loot all the sweet loot that all of Militech left in their wake. They don't need it anymore, and I could sell the remains of the bodies. And so the strategy began. 7.5 minutes of watching bullets fly from side to side, picking up all the goodies along the way. Then along came the giant mech units. Oh, very dear. Actually, my teammates proved to be competent and blew out their guns. The mech was shaken up so badly that it even began cowering away in fear. Like a damsel with nothing to lose, I gave a slight punch to knock it over. I just had to do it, meaning you cannot beat Cyberpunk 2077 using only legendary weapons. I am kidding, as that doesn't actually need to happen, but I found it comedic. Informing Poindexter Deshawn of our escapades led us back to the afterlife. He even told Female B that she had some balls for that last mission.
You got some balls, Miss B.
Increasing street cred unlocked a couple of side missions that were actually feasible, meaning that we actually got some money out of it. I won't go into too many details, but the basis of each was installing a tracking device for some kind of stalker on a vehicle and stealing an eyeball because Cyberpunk. Combining all the looting and the quest rewards netted me enough to purchase the DR5 Nova legendary pistol from a weapons dealer. The challenge has officially began, and it is nowhere near over. Unlike last challenge, we had a toast that wasn't to this, but rather hitting the major leagues. Had a nice tour of the afterlife, discussed some naughty things in a soundproof booth, found a zero-gravity briefcase that housed some illicit shit, and found Pan Am Palmer well before her quest. Dressing up nice and fancy will never be my forte, as it makes me feel like an egocentric know-it-all corpo, only in it for themselves and
Money!
The ride to Konpeki Plaza was monotonous, and talks of Aristotle came up. Made our way through the lobby, and I hacked some cameras purely for XP. Some other nonsense with the bot happened. We stealthily made our way into the penthouse, stole a biochip, and watched an entire family disintegrate before our very eyes. Disputes, harmful words, and depression all led to this family's demise. But at least I acquired Saburo Arasaka's dog tags. I'm sure my future pupper will be pleased. Relatively speaking, we are now wanted fugitives, and security is everywhere looking for us, so the only natural thing to do is to have a sprint competition with an injured Jackie to see who reaches the car first. Several floors had to be cleared and many bullets flew our way, but we reached the parking garage and I was the winner. Delamain, our AI homie, got us the hell out of there and dodged even more bullets. Arasaka was persistent, however, and sent a few drones our way to level out Saburo's supposed murderers. Okay. Everything was going according to plan. The legendary pistol I bought earlier was the only weapon in my inventory, and these drones were really weak. No problem, easy fix. Bringing out my weapon, I realized that it wasn't actually my weapon. So I checked my inventory again. The Nova pistol was the only weapon there, but I had some common pistol in my hand. I tried equipping the Nova, but with no such luck for some reason. Ultimately, I deduced that it is either one of two things. One, the game forces you to use some crap pistol if you have nothing in your inventory getting into the car. Two, it is simply a glitch somewhere in the coding that forces this weapon to be brought out. I even waited a few minutes to see if anything would change, but nothing happened. So if you want to be technical, no, you cannot beat Cyberpunk 2077 with only legendary weapons, but I'm still going to keep going as that is an uncertain and possible glitch. The drones were shot up, Jackie rest in peace, and V also died thanks to this fat ass who is most certainly not Jesus. In V's darkest secrets, she starts viewing life from Keanu's perspective over half a century ago. Keanu unleashes hell on some poor souls on the roof with another non-legendary weapon, so that's just a nail in the coffin anyway. Himself, along with Rogue and someone else, brought down Hellfire and Brimstone on Arasaka HQ, with Johnny's signature Malorian Arms pistol, which yes, this is a legendary pistol, go look it up. Attempting to escape, Rogue intentionally drops Johnny from the chopper, leaving him to die courtesy of the Smasher of Atoms. V then wakes up in a landfill miraculously. Takamura murders my killer, and we are placed in another situation where I can't use my only legendary pistol in a street shootout. Over an hour of just pure dialogue later, because this is a story-driven game, and we find some trash sitting on some steps that was quickly disposed of. They really thought they had a chance. Even their moms had better odds with me. This guy, who looks like he hasn't eaten an ounce of meat in his lifetime, got punched in the face via my legendary fist after we obtained some info. While chatting with Judy outside about said info, Takamura so rudely interrupts, and the game gives me no option to call him back later. Later shall come much later, as Judy is now top priority. It's another Sandra situation, saving the kidnapped female from a bunch of dudes with guns. My legendary pistol is starting to feel not so legendary, however. Enemies are getting tougher, further away, and they move a lot more. Keep in mind I bought this thing halfway through Act 1, and it is a revolver. The sub-levels beyond the entranceway weren't too bad. Slaughter an enemy here, hack a camera over there, pull a wire out of a woman's head. Your standard tried and true guns blazing mission, or as I like to call it, Thursday. I decide Pan Am's quest is next. She is best girl, don't at me. We met up with Rogue, whom I needed help with to find the man from hell. Her price was 15,000 euro dollars. I'd like to say that 15,000 went to my next weapon, but we still live in capitalist America, and everything from the dirt in my backyard to the fancy Wienermobile that drives along the highways is charged to make wallets and bank accounts everywhere cry out in hunger. I sat at a bar overnight for 24 hours straight without moving like normal people in bars do, all so I can just have information. She shooed me away to go find Pan Am, and because this is a video game, Pan Am desired something for me before I could do what I wanted. With their supplies and her lemon of a vehicle, we stormed to an abandoned old town to set up an ambush against the gang who stole her precious truck. Day turned to night, finally, after about 14 hours of waiting. The clan arrived, we lit the place up like Christmas evening, and more pistol ammo was used. Money will forever be an issue, so being the rat that I am, scavenged every weapon, every container, and every Chuck E. Cheese token from the pachinko machine. It gave me hundreds, and I spent an entire night trying to use them all, although all I wanted was some pistol ammo and booze. Dissatisfied with the lack of giraffe toys, I stormed out and got in Pan Am's truck, aiming to drive away my frustrations, only for her to shove me away and take the wheel before bringing us to a Raph and Shiv hideout to slaughter everybody there. At least I felt better afterwards. Only then was she finally satisfied. I'm honestly shocked that she decided to see through our agreement, as most people just run away at this point. Not her though. We have a celebratory drink, shoot some shit in a landfill, Johnny says he has an impressive and hours pass before we're on the move. I truly wonder what happened in those few hours. The plan was set. The man with hell in his name is aboard an AV. AV stands for audio video, added value, aggressive vermin, agitated venom, alarming ventriloquism. so on and so forth. Though in this game, it probably stands for airborne vehicle. The agitated vehicle will be passing along a power plant. All that's needed from us is to blast our way into the power plant, rig an EMP to detonate, and I can make sure to burn the man with hell in his name. It doesn't go completely to plan, not one does, but Pan Am brings a plan B in the form of a f***ing rocket launcher and blasts the away. Two of her closest Aldecaldo friends, Mitch and Scorpion, observe the scene and attempt to rescue any survivors of the wreckage. Of course, because an EMP went off in an attempt to bring an airborne venom down, any communication was severed and a state of trepidation settled in. A hasty rescue plan was formed after the Aldecaldo's hasty rescue plan crashed into the dirt. Walking in front of the robots guarding the down audio vermin was like looking into a blue matrix. I could have just said static, as that is a more concrete and accurate correlation, but the matrix just sounds cooler. After all is said and done, I'm coming back for all these robots. They sell for good scrap. We managed to save Mitch by being merciless in our assault, learned Hellguy took off using their own cars, and proceeded to bike through the desert. The desert is very much accurate to a real desert. It has dirt everywhere along the ground and bountiful cacti. Now don't correct me. The plural for cactus is cacti, not cactuses. Go f*** yourself. Hellboy we find sitting in a server room. You know, looking back at this clip, I really regret shooting that guy. He had amazing hair. Either way, he doesn't matter at all whatsoever, not even saying one word should you not shoot him, but I took safety into my own hands. I predict at least 3 broken teeth and a fractured jaw from that hit. Family quarrels are always fascinating to watch, as shown by Yorinobu's daddy issues and apparently Pan Am's uncle issues. For having a very successful rescue mission, Pan Am pawned me Scorpion's bike, because as shown by Rogue, nothing could ever really come free, so I'm expecting the bill in about 3 weeks. Interrogation is always a fun experience, as long as you're the one interrogating, that is. You get to slap people around, call them names, and sick bad cop on them in the form of Goro Takamura. Far too short for my taste. I would have liked to break at least some of Hellperson's fingers, but he cooperated to my every demand. He made things no fun. Not soon long after, Pan Am comes crawling back to me again. Something about Saul getting kidnapped by some people I don't really remember the names of. Not like it mattered anyway. What did matter was the fact that myself and Pan Am were the only people in the entire Aldecaldo camp willing to go save their leader. And just look at it like this. One half of the entire rescue squad for a clan's leader isn't even a part of the clan itself. They crapped their pants one too many times during the last debacle and figured they'd be risking ignominious defeat. If Dexter Deshawn was right about one thing, it's that the girls had the biggest balls to get anything done. And so the girls set off to get their friend/leader back. Somehow during all this time, I still have not gotten another legendary weapon, or even upgraded it for that matter. Should have just made this a pistol only run, I would have won, but I digress. Saul was just completely out of it by the time we got down there. He desired a cigar, some ice-cold hooch, and a couple of lady friends to keep him company. Now I know what he dreams about at night, and that image will forever remain engraved in my mind. Thank you, CD Projekt Red. It's a crying shame just how bad these segments are. Like, I just don't care for him. Assuming this was a real car chase and a real shootout, and 4 different vehicles with like 9 different shooters were aiming at a van of all things, and 2 guys with pistols were all that's fighting back, I know who the winners would be. And don't kid yourself, it doesn't appear that it's seemingly impossible to hit them either. I tried writing something witty about this segment, but I just can't do it. The saving grace of this entire mission is one boob joke. According to Saul, sandstorms in North Africa are called haboobs. I'll raise a glass to that. To haboobs.
Yeah. To her boobs.
Now, I tried to do the next Pan Am mission. I really did, but the game prohibited me from entering the damn truck. I mean, look at this. I can't even get in, let alone progress. I tried reloading the save, and apparently, according to the marker, the truck is just falling several hundred feet below the ground, only to reanimate the top of the truck before flying under the map again. Then, it insults me by going 2 miles under the map after another reset. Fed up with this, I decided to play a route I normally would never go down, and I explained Pan Am's entire plan to Saul. I know that's not what you want. I know, look at me, stop it, okay? Yes, I get that Pan Am is one of, if not the best characters in the game, but the video game anarchist in me had to go the evil route at least once, just one time. In doing so, we get a badass vehicle along the way. I know how that makes me look, I do, trust me, but I'm desperate and I need a good vehicle. Plus, she called me Snake. I consider that an honor. A solid snake. Don't even ask how the next bit happened, but today I learned that there was a side quest for shooting the with a vending machine. I have seen it all in video games. There's nothing you can do that surprises me anymore. On an unrelated note, I decided that I am sick of only using one single pistol throughout this legendary only run and decided to buy some new weaponry in the form of the Liberty legendary pistol and Crusher power shotgun. Doing minimal damage on a side quest did me in, as the shotgun alone did me almost 90,000 eddies. My bank account almost screeched at the sight. Back on track with Takamura, or as I like to call him, Hideshi Hino, the comedian. Hideshi concocted his greatest master plan yet, which is to infiltrate a parade float housing the one and only Hanako Arasaka and kidnap her for reasons truly unknown. Meeting up with Okada, a shard was given showcasing routes and positions of floats throughout. The planning is up to us. Unfortunately, we have to wait a day, or do what I did and just skip time with my majestic time travel powers. We rip a door open with our bare hands, hack into a security network by pulling a wire out of our hand because that's not creepy whatsoever, and eat crappy malasada balls from some third-rate chef. The plan is a 1, 1.5, can't forget the half, 2, 3, and 4 stage plan laid out. 1. We conduct some recon in an Arasaka warehouse. Somehow this turned into a bonding time between Hideshi and V, talking about backstories, nomads, and cats, so your average everyday conversation. Stage 1.5, can't forget the half, was simply shooting everything that remotely moved. This was simply a test run for my brand new weaponry. I think it's best I show you how it went down.
First blood. Ownage. Killing spree. Unstoppable. Rampage. Triple kill. Dominating. Double kill. Godlike.
Unfortunately, it takes a while for Takamura to be ready. In the meantime, our Pokemon journey takes us to the Pacifica region, ran by the Voodoo Boys, where it took like a dozen people to direct me to this one mean juggernaut called Proceed. Yep. With the cleaver in his hand, I made sure not to make any sudden movements. That chicken, on the other hand, did a better job than me at that, and it lost the fight quick, so I should be worried. I tried getting him to walk faster. The trip to wherever he was going felt like decades, or just all of 2020, they're about even. He tasks me with the job: find a van inside a mall, jack into it, and feed the info through. Sounds simple enough. Inside, in true V fashion, going loud was the obvious choice. 3 dozen dudes with guns versus a damsel with a shotty and a pistol. The winner should be obvious. The damsel won by a landslide. There should have been more dudes with guns. I learned this lesson from Modern Warfare 2. Blasting ammunition through a steel grate obliterates any opposition on the other side. Nobody told me though that on the other side of the van led quite easily the meanest bitch in the entire game, sorry Meredith Stout, Matilda K. Rose, the Sasquatch. The big chungus pinned me to the ground in a dominant position as she force-fed me through her wire. I'm not going to take that lying down. To make sure she never traumatized anyone again, I emptied my load of bullets into her mouth. 2 dozen in fact. 40 some odd people down, and the only one left was of course the guy who had access to all the super secret videos people pay sweet change for. I disposed of him right quick, jacked in, and saw all 34 terabytes of video he had stored on there. What I managed to do in the process was off every agent on their hit list when they injected me with a virus. Under normal circumstances, this would have ended anybody, but as we all know the rule of thumb with video games, the protagonist never dies before the end. I forced Proceed's subordinates to give me a ride back home and confront the man who deceived me. Mama Brigitte decided to finally come out of Karen Corner and desires to buy the biochip in my head. Oh, so naive to the situation at hand. I would explain in great detail what the entire situation currently is, but it is currently 5:43 in the morning while writing this, so we'll just sum up with a TLDR. Johnny needs Alt Cunningham. She's stuck in some cyberspace alternate dimension. Brigitte has access to the dark web and grants us access, only after we take an ice bath. I reminisce to the days I played football in high school. Don't tell anyone, but I didn't actually play football in high school. I only say that to make people think I'm more awesome than I really am. The dark web world looks like what you see if you combined a blue projector screen and a pin board and tell them to have a one-night stand. 9 months later, this is what it would be like. Flashbacks or nap time commenced, I'm not exactly sure which, and once again we are witnessing the life of the ghost of a breathtaking actor turned rocker boy turned terrorist. Alt Cunningham is revealed to be a woman for some reason. We had a fun night, and then she got kidnapped while Johnny got sliced and diced by Spectre himself. The gang needed to get back together for one last job. The gang consisted of Rogue, Keanu Reeves, Santiago Solari, and John Cena. A couple of combat sequences ensued that only reiterated the fact that shooting enemies with OP weapons is redundant, and the driving combat is as lifeless as my soul is after an 8-hour shift with no break in customer service. The plan: throw one hell of a concert, then storm the building to free the alternative Cunningham. Another combat sequence, same as the others, and we blow the brains out of some fat Asian guy. He is a rich man no more. I wholeheartedly expect Alt to return from the dead here, as that is how happy fairy tale endings are supposed to go. But this story is not happy, fairies don't exist, and we are not at the ending. I lied when I said that this was a TLDR. Thinking back to it now, it's about as redundant as beating the ever-living shit out of this guy. To make a long story short, we need to get out inside Mikoshi, the place we need to go to separate the conjoined twins of Johnny and V. This is too much big brain for me at this point, so we're sticking with that. Once finished with our negative 322-degree bath, Bridget attempts to make me look like an idiot in this scenario and even threatens me. So, the only logical thing to do as a desperate person with nothing left to lose, shoot the entire place up and put a bullet in each and every single one of the brains inside here. Bridget got the first bullet, and Placide got the last one. Well, that's 40 to be exact. Takamura is looking down the ledge into the street below. This is a terrible sign. So, in heroic fashion, I recommend that there is help available in many places, including around the clock hotline. Okay, maybe he wasn't thinking about anything like that, but I had to play it safe. Takamura once again goes over the plan with me. Eliminate 3 snipers overlooking the parade. If all it takes is 3 henchmen overlooking thousands of spectators to get hired by one of the biggest corporations in the entire world, I know 2 others who would fit perfectly for the job, unfortunately one of which will not be Pan Am. Please forgive me. The first sniper I might as well have taken a nap behind, as he just never even bothered to turn the other direction to see if something was up. Something was indeed up. His job at Arasaka HQ, and his eyeballs were looking that way. The second sniper thought it would be cute to set up a hidden mine with a fancy red laser. I shot it because that's what legends do, and trap his arm in the door itself. He won't be missing any more sniper shots for the rest of his life. The third sniper figured it would be funny to hide in a building behind some mines. Just what happens when these mines explode and the thousands below hear the sonic booms? Utter chaos all around. I don't really care though, and blast them away with an extra loud shotgun. Oh, and I deal with the third sniper as well. Almost forgot to mention that. No matter how many times I watch this scene unfold, it still gives me goosebumps that in 56 to 57 years time, people will be plugging in monstrous sized wires in the back of their heads. Heebie-jeebies, let me tell you. A scary man somehow knew the perfect time to come sliding in with giant mantis blades almost half as scary as Logan's vibranium claws. Almost half. Oda-san, however, is not using legendary blades to strike, but rather epic. Now that my garbage has been disposed of, Takamura apparently had his own garbage to dispose of as well, and ordered me to meet at a secret hideout several hundred meters away. For some reason, knocking 4 times was of the utmost importance. And I had every intention of knocking 4 times. I swear I did. Until I pressed square a millisecond too early and flatlined because of it. The Takamura of that universe has a lot of explaining to do. Also, can someone explain this ad to me? First time I heard it, I thought something very wrong was playing. 4 knocks this time, and we were in, and I'm very sorry to say that this meeting is completely classified to all outside ears, client confidentiality and all that. I'm not exactly sure where I went wrong, but the entire situation ended up in a shootout. The fact that I fell multiple floors below and walked away with only a couple of minor scrapes and bruises is amazing. Takamura didn't fall multiple floors as far as I know, and it would be very rude indeed to leave him behind. As I am his ride. Although if I had known that he would transcend the loss of gravity and all it took was a firefight between ourselves and Arasaka, I would have thrown him in the deep end earlier. Eventually we stumble our way out of there, though I wish I could say it was a walk in the park. If you can imagine running from cover to cover, dodging and weaving copious amounts of bullets while running through rain in a thunderstorm and lightning striking everywhere around you, that was roughly the situation we were in. The thunderstorm and lightning all around is used for dramatic effect, but that just makes the entire anecdote all the more riveting when told later. Now it is finally time to decide our fate as V. whom we go with. Do we go as V or as Johnny? And how do we go about this? I'll say one thing for sure, taking the easy way out like I did in the Cyberpunk pacifist video wasn't the most appealing. So in theory, it's better if we go guns blazing in Arasaka. And that is exactly what I desire to do. Becoming a legend in Night City does not mean taking the easy way out. So we drank, had ourselves a nice night, took this dude with us because he seemed like decent second-rate help, and crashed our vertibird into Arasaka HQ, paving way for the entirety of Central Park to burn down. The ambushes and attacks the Hanako henchmen attempted to launch were adorable. Rather cute, but Rogue got the good hookups, every single weapon the color of a tangerine. Fighting here, fighting there, falling down hundreds of feet with fancy jetpacks locked onto our feet, uploading an AI to a massive network infrastructure, about your average Tuesday. Unfortunately, that AI that I mentioned several seconds ago managed to subdue all of the remaining combat opportunities, so I am forced to take a count-out victory against all of them. A damn shame that was. I was prepared to give the crowd a show until the end. You know that feeling you get when things just keep going your way the entire time? Almost too well, in fact. I knew things were too good to be true as the one and only Megatron himself came flying in like a bat out of hell, ripping apart raw real steel and hightailing it like Usain Bolt at virtually any competition. Although Usain Bolt never managed to grab anybody through their chests, that seemed more like Megatron's shtick. A hybrid fusion between Megatron and Usain Bolt, Usain Tron, Megabolt, Mega Usain Tron, Tron Bolt. I thought I would finally have some competition, a worthy opponent, one where I could say that our battle would be legendary. It ended up being about a minute. 63 seconds, in fact, was what this legendary battle ended up clocking in at. Rogue really supplied us with the absolute pinnacle of weaponry. There's only one weapon to end Smasher for good though, and that is a Malorian Arms 3516 pistol. Johnny's preference. Bang. And a few more bullets into the face because that's what all the salty online kids do nowadays. Mikoshi access point was next, and this place just gives me the creeps. In short, we crossed a bridge, had a heart-to-heart with V as Johnny, which was incredibly awkward, and crossed another bridge to finally finish what we started. V got her body back for 6 more months. Oh, and we did some space shit, and I did not complete Cyberpunk 2077 using only legendary weapons. If you enjoyed this video or learned something, consider leaving it a like, or if you didn't learn anything or didn't enjoy it, leave it a dislike. And if you haven't already, and you like what you see on the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it. It's free, and you could always change your mind if you want. Have a good one. Peace out.